It is often said that temptation begins with a whisper. It doesn't crash through the door or shout in your ear. Instead, it creeps in quietly, gradually making its presence known until you sense its breath on your neck in the solitude of your own company. It was in that moment that I realized the depths of my longing, leading me to stand before my boss's bedroom door at the stroke of midnight, clad only in a delicate silk robe, my heart brimming with desire. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Amber. At 25 years old, I find myself single and immersed in the rewarding role of a live-in nanny for a lovely family in the vibrant city of Miami. Vanessa, the mother, embodies sweetness and kindness, perhaps to an excessive degree. She regarded me as if I were her younger sister. Her husband, Mr. Blake, was a character all his own. He stood tall, with broad shoulders that exuded strength, his salt and pepper hair adding a distinguished touch. His deep voice resonated, sending shivers down my spine every time he uttered my name. Mr. Blake possessed not only striking good looks but also an undeniable aura of power. A man who entered a room and cast a shadow over all, leaving others feeling diminished in his presence. In those fleeting moments when his gaze lingered on me, a heartbeat too long, a glance dipped just a fraction too low, I sensed that I was not alone in experiencing that thrilling danger. The tale began on the evening Vanessa embarked on her week-long business journey. The silence enveloped the house, a chill creeping into its very bones. Responsibility was expected of me, yet all I could sense was a surge within, a fierce and untamed heat. Rest eluded me that night. I writhed restlessly, clad in that delicate robe I had never summoned the courage to don until now. My room lay just across the hall from his, and with each passing minute, my heart raced ever faster. Was it wild? Perhaps, but I had lost all interest. He was essential to me. I crept quietly down the hallway. The house lay shrouded in darkness, enveloped in an eerie silence, save for the gentle hum of the fridge echoing from downstairs, a solitary reminder of life within the stillness. I found myself before his door, fingers quivering, breath held tight. My nipples pressed against the silk, the fabric teasingly caressing them as I raised my hand and tapped softly, just once. I found myself wishing he might remain oblivious, yet he heard me all the same. The door groaned as it swung ajar, revealing him shirtless, with sleepy eyes, and utterly captivating. "Amber," he murmured, his voice deep and gravelly. "Is all well?" I took a deep breath, my face flushed, my legs instinctively drew closer. I found myself unable to drift into slumber. I murmured softly, "May I enter?" He paused briefly, his gaze falling to my robe, my exposed legs, the contour of my hip. His jaw tightened, yet he moved aside. As I stepped inside, the room was infused with his essence, a blend of wood, spice, and an indefinable masculinity that lingered in the air. He shut the door softly as I stepped away. "What seems to be the matter?" he inquired. I pivoted to confront him, my heart racing wildly. "I find it difficult to express this," I murmured gently, "yet you have occupied my thoughts for weeks." His eyes deepened with shadow as he advanced slowly in my direction. "Amber, you must realize this is not right." "I understand," I murmured, "yet it matters not to me." He was mere inches away now, and I could sense the warmth radiating from his body. His chest rose and fell with a deliberate slowness. I noticed his gaze linger on my lips before it descended further. "Are you interested in this?" he inquired, his voice scarcely rising above a whisper. Indeed. He kissed me, with a fervor that was neither gentle nor slow. It was a blaze, an unrefined, profound craving that flowed from his lips to mine. His hands encircled my waist, drawing me closer, and I inhaled sharply as I sensed his desire pressing against me. I sighed softly against his lips, my fingers gripping his back as he effortlessly lifted me and transported me to the bed. The robe parted as I reclined, and his gaze traversed every inch of my being. He pressed his lips against my neck, then my chest, and further still, his mouth igniting a blaze as his hands roamed over every inch of me I had longed for him to caress. I had ceased to think, no longer burdened by concerns for Vanessa or the notions of right and wrong. All I understood was that I was finally savoring what I had longed for, and he provided it to me throughout the night. Time and again, he stirred emotions within me that were entirely new. The caress of his touch, the soft murmur of his words in my ear, the warmth of his embrace afterward. It transcended the boundaries of a mere night. It was an opening of a door, one that neither of us would ever be able to shut again. I found myself awakening in his bed, ensnared in the soft embrace of his sheets, his arms securely encircling me. It was on that fateful night that everything commenced, and the unfolding would not cease there. We were unable to halt our momentum. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our incredible subscribers of Ella Infidelity Stories. Your presence inspires us to weave these profound, heartfelt, and passionate tales. If you're visiting us for the first time, be sure to subscribe and become part of our expanding community. There is an abundance of insights waiting to be unveiled to you. I stirred from slumber, my head resting gently on his chest, feeling the tender rhythm of his breath beneath me. The sheets lay in disarray around our legs, my robe discarded on the floor, and his arm remained draped around me, a silent testament to his reluctance to release me. For a fleeting instant, I shut my eyes and envisioned myself as his, as if I truly belonged in his embrace, in his sanctuary, in the tapestry of his existence. Yet, the harshness of reality seeped in, much like a cold breeze. This was Vanessa's husband, my superior, a man I was never meant to lay a finger on, much less savor in the way I had the night before. Yet I found no room for regret, not even a fraction. His hand glided deliberately along my back. "Are you all right?" he inquired with that rich, languid tone that sent a delightful shiver through my core. I gazed up at him, my lip caught between my teeth, superior to merely satisfactory. He offered a smile. Oh, that smile, it sent my heart racing. "I didn't expect that," he said, gently tucking a strand of hair behind my cheek. "Your presence caught me by surprise." I turned onto him softly, my body poised above his, the fabric of the sheets cascading down to my waist. I leaned in and kissed him once more, this time with a gentler touch, savoring the lips that had left me undone the night prior. "I'm not finished with you," I murmured, my fingers gliding down his chest. He let out a quiet groan, his gaze deepening with shadows. "Once more, you possess an alluring danger." "No," I murmured softly as I descended the bed, pressing my lips against his stomach, then trailing lower. "I belong to you." He propped himself up a bit, yet I gently urged him back down with a smile. He was aware of my intentions, yet he chose not to intervene. I yearned to delight him, to linger in his thoughts each time he shut his eyes. I embraced him with my mouth, savoring each moment, his fingers weaving through my hair as I danced my tongue and lips in a harmonious flow, my hands cradling him with a gentle yet assertive touch. He emitted a profound, guttural sound that conveyed all I required to understand. "Amber," he breathed, his voice barely above a whisper. "Oh, the sensation you bring is simply exquisite." I pressed on, offering him all of me, slow, deep, wet, and intense. I yearned for him to surrender to chaos, and indeed he did. DY tensed, releasing a deep groan as he clutched the sheets tightly with both hands. I consumed it all, my gaze fixed on him throughout. As I returned to his side, he drew me in and murmured words that would forever echo in my memory. No one has ever evoked such feelings within me." I blinked. "Not even your spouse?" He hesitated before responding. He turned his gaze toward me, a blend of seriousness and vulnerability etched across his face. "It has been quite a while since Vanessa and I shared a close bond. She is perpetually occupied, forever weary. Our kisses have become a rare occurrence." I bit my lip, resisting the urge to feel sympathy for him. Desire to remain untouched faded as the moment slipped away, leaving me to confront the inevitable. "She is fortunate," I murmured. "No," he said, his thumb gliding softly across my lips. "I consider myself fortunate." We lingered in bed for hours, exchanging whispers, kisses, and tender caresses, entwined in a dance of passion that felt like a remedy for all the solitary nights we had endured. Yet, as the morning light slowly seeped through the curtains, it brought with it an undeniable sense of guilt. I quietly slipped out of his bed and returned to my room just in time, before the kids stirred from their slumber. I found myself before the mirror, gazing intently at my reflection. The fullness of my lips, the crimson stains adorning my neck, the radiant flush illuminating my cheeks. I appeared as a transformed woman, one who had traversed a boundary that was now irrevocably crossed. But wait, there's more to this wild tale. I felt the urge to traverse it once more. On that day, we endeavored to maintain a facade of normalcy, sharing breakfast, navigating the school drop-off, and tidying the house. Yet the glances exchanged between us crackled with intensity. In the kitchen, he glided by me, his voice a soft murmur, "You're all I've been thinking about." In the laundry room, he pressed his lips to mine against the door, a secret moment shared when no one else was around. As the evening unfolded, restraint slipped away from us. Once again, I found myself in his room before dinner, and he drew me onto his lap as if it were my rightful place. During that week, in Vanessa's absence, we found ourselves irresistibly drawn to one another. We found ourselves entwined in the shower, lost in each other on the living room couch, exploring the depths of passion in his office, and even beneath the stars by the pool late one night. It transcended mere physicality. It was an intoxicating blend of fervor, desire, and an insatiable craving. Each kiss delved deeper, each touch grew more fervent. We danced with danger, fully aware of the risks, yet we found ourselves unable to pull away. We were reluctant to bring it to a close. Once more, I found myself enveloped in his embrace that night, his powerful hands clasping my waist as he entered me with a deliberate slowness, as if he sought to etch the sensation of me into his memory. Our bodies intertwined in a seamless dance, slick with sweat and ensnared within the sheets. Each moan that slipped from my lips was consumed by his mouth, every gasp met with a thrust that transported me beyond my surroundings. What had begun as mere desire had transformed into something perilous. In that moment, it was as if I were destined to be in his bed, as though my place had always been here, far beyond the role of merely the nanny. "Amber," he murmured, his voice heavy with longing, "you're driving me mad." I smiled in the shadows, continuing to ride him slowly, clinging to the tension that surged between us like an impending tempest. "Good," I murmured softly into his ear. "I desire to bring about your downfall." And so I did, night after night. We were wild, yearning, and utterly consumed. Yet, the reality of dancing with flames is that it inevitably reaches its conclusion. A method to ignite your flames. It transpired on a Thursday. In the kitchen, clad in a loose tank top with nothing beneath, I found myself humming softly as I prepared the kids' lunchboxes. He pressed his lips to mine by the fridge, his breath warm as he murmured his desire for me in his office after the kids were gone. A smile spread across my face, my body yearning for his touch. In that moment, the front door swung open, and with it, everything came crashing down. "Greetings." Vanessa's voice echoed through the corridor. We both stood still, caught in the moment. She was meant to return on Saturday, yet there she stood, suitcase in hand and a weary smile gracing her lips, as if she hadn't just cut short a business trip that was safeguarding our secret. "Oh my God," she exclaimed, spreading her arms wide to embrace the children. "My heart has ached for each of you in your absence." I spun quickly, attempting to shield my face, my heart racing in my chest. He moved closer, embracing her with a hint of awkwardness, before pressing a gentle kiss to her cheek. "You're back early," he remarked, attempting to maintain a nonchalant demeanor. Indeed, the previous 2 meetings were called off. I thought it would be delightful to catch everyone off guard. She glanced in my direction. "Amber, I truly appreciate all that you did for me during my absence." I inclined my head, a smile tugging at the corners of my lips. "Certainly, it's always a delight." Yet within, I was in turmoil. There was scarcely a moment to spare for washing the sheets. That afternoon, an unsettling air hung over everything. He scarcely cast a glance in my direction. She remained near him, encircling him with her arms, her laughter ringing out as if she were asserting her rightful position once more. I experienced a profound sense of invisibility, as if I had been cast aside and left to fade into obscurity. Yet, as the night deepened and the world outside fell silent, a gentle knock echoed through the stillness of my room. It was indeed him. With deliberate care I eased it open. He lingered in sweatpants and a fitted shirt, his eyes brimming with guilt and an insatiable hunger. She pressed her lips against mine, he confessed, and I loathed every moment of it. Without uttering a single word, I drew him in and secured the door behind us. He brought me to that moment, pinned against the wall, swift and fierce, a hush enveloping us as his hand covered my mouth, driving into me repeatedly until I shattered in his embrace, my fingers digging into his back. I missed you, he groaned into my neck. Your mouth, your hands, your voice. Each has occupied my thoughts, weaving together a tapestry of fascination. I sank to my knees and welcomed him into my mouth once more, reminiscent of that initial encounter. He reclined against the wall, a low groan escaping his lips, his fingers entwined in my hair. Amber, oh, he breathed in astonishment. Your presence surpasses all that I have ever experienced. No one has ever treated me this way. His words drew me in, urging me to explore further, to linger, to tease him until he was on the brink of surrender. He arrived with a muffled groan, attempting to remain silent, yet I was certain she would catch wind of it if she were awake. Afterward, he kissed me with a nonchalance that suggested indifference, yet I felt deeply invested. I invested too deeply. I ought to have paused, to have turned away that evening when he entered my room and kissed me as if I were the very air sustaining him. Yet I did not. I welcomed him back into my body, into my heart, and further still into the depths of my soul. We embraced with an insatiable hunger, his lips tracing my skin, my legs entwined around his waist, my soft sighs muffled against his chest. In the aftermath, we reclined in quietude, attuned to the rhythm of one another's breaths. I'm succumbing to you, he murmured, and I find myself at a loss for how to halt this descent. Enveloped in shadows, words eluded me, yet the sensation coursed through me as well. Perhaps that was the catalyst for our carelessness. As the following day, everything unraveled. It began with a phone abandoned on the kitchen counter, his phone. He occupied the upstairs with the children, while I busied myself with the dishes below. Vanessa, his wife, had planned to enjoy a leisurely brunch with her friend, yet she returned home sooner than expected. At first, her presence went unnoticed. She entered with a subtle grace, the soft click of her heels resonating gently against the hardwood floors. She halted, her gaze drawn to the phone vibrating on the counter. With a sense of intrigue, she reached for it. I pivoted at the last moment, catching a glimpse of her face draining of color. She was engrossed in a message that I had sent her. Last night was a tapestry of unforgettable moments. Your essence lingers on my palate. I desire more. Her fingers curled around the phone with a firm grip, and her gaze gradually shifted toward me. Stillness. Then what on earth is this? I stood still, the plate I held slipping from my grasp and crashing into the sink, fragments scattering everywhere. Vanessa. Yet, she was already ascending the stairs, phone clutched tightly, fury etched across her features. I trailed after her, a surge of anxiety coursing through me, my heart racing wildly within my chest. She stormed into their bedroom, where he was assisting the children with their changes. He turned, stunned, and said, "You've been involved with the nanny?" Vanessa, hold on a moment. With a swift motion, she hurled the phone in his direction. Do not even think about deceiving me. The children gazed, bewildered and frightened. Leave, she commanded, indicating towards me. Vanessa, please leave my home. I retreated, shaking, filled with shame, and utterly devastated. In a mere 10 minutes, I swiftly packed my bags. He attempted to pursue me, to utter words, yet she positioned herself between us like a tempest, guarding the remnants of her dignity and her kin. I stepped outside just like that, The liaison had come to an end, yet the scars remained. Time slipped away week by week. I discovered a cozy little apartment and secured a part-time job in another place. I lowered my gaze, attempting to erase the memory of how he made me feel, how his touch conveyed that I was the sole woman in existence. On a particular night, my phone vibrated softly. It was indeed him. She has departed, accompanied the children, initiated divorce proceedings. All that remains is the echo of your memory. My gaze lingered on the screen, emotions swelling within me, tears threatening to spill over. I felt compelled to respond. I longed to express how much I missed him, how he lingered in my dreams, how his presence still resonated within me. Yet I did not. I switched off my phone and nestled into bed. For some love stories are destined to be brief, tantalizing, and etched in memory, much like ours.